Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly along with James Smith. I'm Lyle Stokes. And James, we had a time in North Carolina this past weekend.
Yes, sir. It was dang sure an adventure, wasn't it?
It was. It was a long drive out there and a long drive back, and met some of the nicest people in the industry out there. They just, the whole thing went over really smooth. You had some great help out there, and Richard done a bang-up job at them scales. I don't think anybody could have done it any better. He made sure everything was done the way it needed to be done, and I commend him for a job well done.
Yep. He loves the tournament fishing, and he's heard enough weigh-ins and watched them guys run it, and they run a tight ship at Southeastern. So that's where he gets a lot of that from, and kudos to him. I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah, he done a great job. I got one announcement, but before we get started, Brad Beck sent me in the results for the Indiana Catfish Association tournaments held over the weekend. John Karn and Travis Sherman, 52.9 was the winners. Corey Peterson, Jeff Mitchner, and Logan Johnson, 51 pounds for second place. Ron Streeter, George Lemaster for 50.15 pounds for third. Fourth place was David Lockridge, Doug Parkinson, 50.5 pounds. Man, there's some close weights. Most all Channel Cat now. Fifth place was Chris Jessica Gage DeBusk with 47.15 pounds. And the big fish was a 15-pound Channel Cat by Justin Newley and Tim Messersmith. We want to remind everybody we're glad to make announcements for you guys, whether you have an upcoming event or whether you have results that you would like us to tell people about, but you have to send them to us because we can't go in and look them all up all the time. That's what we just spend so much time. We tried to do that, and it just doesn't work out. But if you guys will just send them in to us, we'll be glad to make those announcements and get things going. Now James, we were supposed to have Junior Proctor on here tonight. And about 30 minutes before the show started, or 45, he called me, and he has a family member that they were taken to the ambulance in the hospital. And please keep Junior and his family in your thoughts and prayers. We will reschedule him and get him back on here. But we're pretty fortunate to have Chad and Dee on here, the second place finishers at the tournament this past weekend.
Yeah, Junior's in chat right now.
Well, good.
He said, "Sorry, guys."
Hey, we'll get him back in here, and you guys we can talk tournament fishing with him. We can talk about how he thought everything went out there, and we can talk about planer boards. And my question was going to be for Junior: is that red, white, and blue one's going to be a thing that he's going to come out with, or is that just a theme for you guys? Because man, them planer boards was cool.
Yep, I like the way it looked at them.
Yeah, they was very nice.
I might have to put a halt on them just for the tournament because them things were pretty. I like them.
It was very nice. They're very nice. But just remember, Junior had a little something go on tonight, or he would have been here with us. But in the meantime, Chad and Dee had a dandy day Saturday. It started out with a bang and kept banging, didn't it?
She let me net some good fish, Lyle.
Hey, it takes a team, and if it's your day to net, then it's your day to net. If it's your day to catch, it's your day to catch. Sometimes it works out where everybody catches the nets, and some days it don't. And you just, as a team, you got to be able to play the game however the cards are dealt to you.
And that's what we've done. We've learned the teamwork part of it of what we're doing. So
that the only rule we have is he's not allowed to reel in the first fish, because every time we fish and he does, that's the only fish we catch.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that either.
It just so happened that for the tournament, the first fish was the 40-pound blue. So,
wow.
Sorry, babe.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Them flatheads was all great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The flathead bite was on. There's a lot of flatheads weighed in.
I couldn't believe how many flathead were weighed in during that tournament.
And all pretty good size ones.
Yep, that's a major amount of things going on, and some great fish. Absolutely great fish weighed in. Yeah, really
I'll
was.
tell you, when I went down through there making up the list, Lyle, there was a lot of weights that was within tenths of a pound of each other. A lot.
Yeah.
I'm talking about one of them was just 1/10 and some of them like 3/10. There was a lot of close first, second, well, not first and second, there was a couple pounds difference. Yeah, gummit. Hold up.
Yeah,
Well,
2.7 pounds. Mr. Matthew
Yeah.
Anthony took it by.
Yeah, but when you got on down, then that's when it started getting real close. And I thought, man, that's crazy. Like Kevin and Robbie and Richard and them, they was 57.15 and 57.10.
Oh, yeah.
That's way close. But, one of the things that got me most of all was trying to determine who had the biggest smile out of all the people fishing. D had to be in the top 2 or 3. So did Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie was.
Yeah, Robbie was very
and
happy.
Gabby.
Yeah, and Gabby.
Gabby, she could. Robbie got his fish and held it up. It was a chore for him to get it up there because he's not a very big. Gabby, she just had to sit down and bear hug hers. But man, there's nothing any greater than to see them kids pull that off. And Kevin, I watched the video that Robbie put up. I haven't watched Kevin's yet, but they had a blast on there. And
he was
Robbie
shaking.
had told me that he was so thankful that Fishing with the Squirrel was in that boat with them. He said they had a great time and made sure that he had a good time. That's what you do with kids. I mean, that is getting it done and getting it done right.
Exactly.
So, and I know that Gabby had caught fish all week. So she just popped her week off.
Yeah, she had she got a 37-pound flathead. And yesterday, before they left, he just got home about 4 hours ago. Justin did with Gabby. But yesterday they got Richard. They went out head hunting, throwing big baits, nothing but head hunting. Couldn't get on them, and he run across a pile of those perch. And he got them all stirred up, and Gabby was catching 2 and 3 at a time. She caught one big channel cat and 2 perch at the same time. And just at the time he turned around and grabbed another rod, she done put 30 in the live well. 30 of those perches. When you get them stirred up like that, you can catch them 6 and 7 at a time on sabikis.
Well, you got a hell of a fishery out there, James. I'll tell you that. It's a great one. Of course, it's always a pleasure for me to get to sit and visit with Dieter a little bit. It didn't last very long because everybody was so busy and he was doing a little bit of filming. I couldn't believe how big Grayson's got.
I know.
He's bigger than I am. I mean, it's just amazing to see these kids grow up.
Thank you, Mr. Gadget.
But it was a great tournament and a great time. And I think that you got big things to come. Now, I know that you're going to tell everybody about the winners and have a bunch of guests and stuff go on Wednesday night, and that's awesome. Would you like to tell everybody how much money was raised just Saturday?
Just Saturday alone, we raised $7,060. That's what went in the bank today for Camp Centurion.
That is awesome, man. That's unbelievable. I have never seen any more generous people than was at that tournament. Not only did they pay their entry fees, they would throw in extra money. Sometimes it was $5, sometimes it was $20, sometimes it was $50, sometimes it was $100. And then they come back and give another $100. I've never seen such generosity out of people, and they knew why it needed to be done, and they made it happen.
It was Lyle, that was probably one of the most humbling things that I've ever done in my life, to see Americans stand up for our soldiers.
That's right.
Both active and non-active. Our soldiers need help. We teach them how to go out and defend us, but sometimes they need a little help how to come back home and be civilians.
Mhm.
And that's what Camp Centurion's all about, is to get these guys back out into life where they can function, go get jobs, and live the way that they was living before they signed them on that dotted line.
Well,
I can give you the first little bit. First place went to Matthew Anthony and Glenn Sue with 79.30 pounds. Miss D and Chad was second place with 76.60 pounds. And third place went to Jack Bryson and Matthew Goodale with 73.60.
And James, you can just say Miss D. I didn't.
D, whose trophy's that?
You're just a boat driver and a net man, wasn't you?
She
Whose
held
trophy
this
is
thing for 10 hours on the way home.
You done rubbed the bronze off of it.
Yeah. She's every once in a while she'd look over and say, "Hey."
Whose trophy is it, D?
Ours.
Oh,
I
who
couldn't
did you
do
tell
it
me it
without
was the
him.
other day?
Saturday it was mine.
When I wasn't around, it was hers.
Oh my! You guys was a hoot. You had a great time. You know, some of the things that happened, maybe at the dinner, we had a plan, Chad. You give me the address to the motel you was staying at, and I give it to Cindy, and she got us a room, assuming at the same place. But there happens to be two different motels with the same name in two different cities out there.
Both
So
by the
he was in
airport.
one city, and we was in another city. But we got to get together and eat dinner, and we got to eat with the 1 Ton boys. And that was pretty cool in itself. And, of course, Kevin was out there. And I don't remember who else.
LT Bear.
Chrissy
Yep.
and
Chrissy and Ernie Brown and
Ernie
LG Bear
Brown
was there.
out there. Yeah. And,
Aaron from Catfish Regulators.
Yep. So, you know, we had a good time and pretty good food. And you got to have smorgasbord when you got that many of you. And we had 2 of them.
Yes.
One Friday, one Saturday, and they was both delicious.
Now, what hotels did you stay in, Lyle? What town? Belmont?
No, that don't sound right.
They was in
I know you didn't
Charlotte.
say the right one.
They wasn't in Charlotte. You wasn't in Charlotte, was you? You was in Charlotte? Well, I was the closer to the lake than that.
That would
Yeah.
be Belmont.
Well, okay. Maybe that's where it was at.
Yeah, we were in off Tyvola.
Right.
You know, the exact address that I sent Lyle, but he looked up a different one because he wanted to stay somewhere else.
Not really, but it worked out that way. So I've told you guys before, some of the most fun you can have at tournaments is in the parking lot when everybody's out there hee-hawing around and telling lies and stories, some truths, not near as many as should be probably, but that's some of the most fun that you can have in a tournament situation is in the parking lot. But where we was at, it would have been awful hard. When we thought we was at the same motel, I was actually saving you a place to put your boat because there wasn't a parking spot there where you could park your boat and hook up to electricity. You was going to have to separate them. There just wasn't no room. And I hope where you was at had better parking situation than this. That's one of the things when they build these motels, they do not build them for fishing tournaments.
No.
They don't have electrical outlets. They don't have long parking areas. They don't buy extra property because it's so expensive to make a parking lot for big trucks and boats and trailers and stuff like that. So you kind of got to finagle. And usually what you do is everybody's helping everybody else back into a parking spot. And then you park your truck or vehicle beside your boat, which is kind of what I was planning on you doing, but you never showed up.
It's
And
not my fault.
Hey, that's what we did in our parking lot.
Yeah.
And especially when you get near big cities like Charlotte and Belmont's trying to grow up right beside Charlotte, so the price of everything has gone out the roof. And you know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I think everything the way things are going right now, I think the price of everything has got astronomical in the last few months, and I don't see that changing for a while. But
No.
hey, what do you say we run through here and mention some of the people we got in chat right quick?
Hey.
I can see Uncle Josh and Stan and Palmetto Cats, Brad Cahill, Ernie Brown, PD, Mr. Gadget, Dave Garcher. Oh, Cindy's in there.
Fishing with a squirrel. Thank you, my friend. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that you handed me down there at the tournament.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
I was awestruck. I didn't even know what to say, Lyle. It just took my breath.
Yeah, that was really cool.
JP3, John Patrick Jr., Jason Lamb. There's Laura the Explorer. We got to meet her too down there. She come down to visit with us.
What a nice lady. And I think, I don't know that she caught any fish, but I believe she had a great time with everybody.
Yep, Glenn's catfishing, muskrat, Mr. Gadget. Thank you for all your post up.
SK's Crappie Catching Adventures, Brad Beck's Two Stands, Twisted Fishing. Hey, Frank, you should have made this one. It was a lot of fun. Creole. Two Old Vets. Hey, Rob, how you doing? Uncle Lou, Lee Reed.
We'd love to have 2 old vets down there, too.
Yeah, we need him down there. That would be great. There's P. City Smitty in there. Mentioned Kevin.
PD was there.
PD was there. Yep. There was a lot of people that I didn't know there, but there was a lot of people that I've known online for a long time, and it's not the same. For some reason, Squirrel, I had him pictured completely different. You know what I mean?
I did too.
I thought he'd be a lot older. He wasn't very old. He's like my kids, you know. He wasn't very old, but man, he done a good deal on that thing he made for you, and Robbie thought a lot of him, and that goes a long way with me because Robbie's a pretty cool kid, and
he wasn't nowhere near as big as I thought he was.
No,
a little bitty rascal, man.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm going to mention something before we get Chad telling us about how he found those fish, because I think everybody's kind of wanting to know how he found them. I had the time of my life Saturday afternoon sitting there talking with David Martin and Jeff Anderson. Now, when somebody tells you that Jeff Anderson's a big old boy, that might be an understatement, because he is a really big old boy. And he is a great guy to sit around and visit with.
Yeah.
Stories, keeps your sides ripping. And David was the same way. I had such a great time visiting with those two. And I never did find out what Jeff Anderson's lady's name was. But she was a lot of fun too. And Robbie's grandmother come down and sat with us. I'm not sure she understood how to take some of us, but what a fine lady. And she loves her grandson to death. And that's what makes a family fishing work.
Yeah, David's on the water right now.
Yeah, I seen him was catching some fish, but those two was really cool. So, I see Betty Jean's in there. Mike Lewis, Tim Molina.
And see, Betty Jean was just in South Carolina 4 or 5 days ago. She should have extended her vacation.
She really missed it. Yeah. Yes, she did, Kevin. That's a fact.
And Lyle, being able to put a face with a name means a whole lot.
Well, it is.
And
that's
being able to get
you and I've done and never met.
Nope.
Me
and Junior Proctor had never met.
No, Junior's a swell guy. I really enjoyed the time I got to spend with Junior and shoot, lost my train of thought. Kevin's another one. I've done a lot of stuff over the last couple of years with Kevin, and never met him, but you see him and you instantly know who he is. Just like Junior Proctor, when he walked up there, I knew who he was, and I couldn't wait to get my hand out there in his, because he does so much good for our sport, and it was such a pleasure to meet you guys. And hell, Chad and Dee, I'd never met Chad and Dee before, but it made I drive that distance, and believe me, it's a long haul. But I'd do it again to meet everybody again. I mean, I just would. There's Mike Sampson.
I try not to complain about my drive just because I know how long yours was.
Well, like I told you guys, we took off here, and it wasn't too bad. We spent the first night at my nephew's house. It's always great to see him because I don't get to see him very often. And we stayed up late shooting the bull and got up the next morning and then drove on in. I don't know, James, what time did we get out there? 1 o'clock or something like that?
Yeah, that's about around 1:30, something like that. I think that's when you texted me.
Yeah, and then after the tournament, we went and ate and went back to the motel, and Cindy and I decided we was just going to get up when we got up. And whenever we got up, we'd leave. Well, when she woke me up, it was 5:30 Missouri time, which means 6:30 your time. And she had already got most everything loaded before she woke me up. And I crawled.
Well, that's a good lady.
Yeah. I crawled behind the wheel of that old Ford. And when we stopped last night at 8:30, we was sitting in Buffalo, Missouri.
Oh, you let her eat then, didn't you?
You haul off and let the big dog eat. That's right.
There you go.
We stopped and fed the dog and fed us a couple of times and got gas. And we just rolled on in, but it was a beautiful drive out there. The mountains are gorgeous. And I would mention to the people of Kentucky, you need to call your people and tell them to get them roads fixed. They're awful.
I'm sorry. West Virginia. No, West Virginia.
Yeah.
They're worse.
You ain't drove through South Carolina.
Kentucky roads are like paved in gold compared to West Virginia. Sorry, JP3.
Oh, wow. Man.
I mean, I'm not lying, Lyle. I literally had to almost stop the boat and Jeep like 4 or 5 times. I looked back, and my little boat. You've seen how little it was, you know.
Yeah.
It's a little bass boat. The back 2 tires that was coming off the ground, and I'm like, I'm freaking out. I had to slow down and let it settle down, and I'd start back up.
Yeah.
I got so tickled that the road signs say road construction ahead. And they wasn't even near the road. They was working on something, but it wasn't the roads.
In Kentucky, those signs, they're like national monuments. They've been here since 1922.
But, you know, you're going to run into some of that. And I can imagine how much of a problem it is to repair the roads in them mountains. But they wasn't that bad. But some of them roads in Kentucky, man, they got big old chunks missing out of them. I'm not sure I didn't leave part of the tread off some of my tires in them. But it is what it is. Hey, there's somebody new. Want to be outdoors. Welcome.
Yeah, we got a couple people in here new. I seen, what was that, Polar Bear? Hadn't seen that name before.
I think Polar Bear's been coming around. Want to be outdoors, if I'm not mistaken, is Ohioan.
Great. Yeah. That's great. Somebody said hello to Dieter. I hope he's made it in here. There's
yeah,
Jason
I just seen him a minute
Mike
ago.
Sampson, Mindy Hogan, Robbie Thompson. We'll try to catch all of you again. There's Mark with Catfish and Crappie.
Yeah.
I'll bet. Hey, Chad. I'll bet your brother James is in there too. He's not saying anything.
Probably.
He's the quiet one.
He is.
No, he's
he's pouting because you came out and you spent 2 days with me. You only sat in the Walmart parking lot with him for a minute. And
that's because he's Walmart addicted.
He is.
I hate that place. I'll pay $100 extra to keep him going to that cotton picking place.
No,
I won't go
anymore.
Before we get too far, there is also a fellow catfisherman that is still in the hospital. He had a stroke, and that is Mr. Tracy Bingham from Lightning Bugs.
I need to keep.
I talked to him today. He told him he is in our prayers and he's in our thoughts at the tournament because I know he wanted to be there. He was at the very first one. It's actually him and his partner Ken called me the night before the first YouTube tournament and say, "We are veterans. Can we come fish and how much?" I said, "It ain't costing you nothing. You're veterans. Get your tail down here." And they actually won second place the first year.
Cool.
So he was in my thoughts there. He's actually a sponsor of the tournament. And so y'all keep him in his prayers. Yep. He's going through rehab right now, learning to get things back to working like it should. It was a temporary paralysis type of stroke, I think. And so he should get over it, but it'll take him a little bit. So keep him in your prayers if you don't mind, everybody.
Absolutely.
And if you don't mind yet, if you guys don't know, there's one guy that he supported. He does have a small YouTube channel as well. He fell and broke his back. Mr. Lee Evans. He's in there all the time watching this. So keep him in your thoughts. So
yeah, I didn't know about that.
I seen that. I just seen that come up today.
Lee supports a lot of the channels and a lot of the shows and stuff. So please keep him in your thoughts.
Thank you for saying that, Chad, because I just seen that a little while ago, and I thought, man, that'd be. And I thought I had back problems. Lyle, I know y'all probably, some of you got to talk to some of the veterans. We had one veteran to come down and get on a boat, and I'll give a shout out to Jeff Sally, who was already set up on biting fish and reeled his stuff in to come back and pick this man up. It was one of the veterans. This man fought the whole war from start to finish in active fighting of the Korean War. And he come down and got on the boat, and they caught some fish, and they had a blast. So that was an honor to have him there. But the big honor, guys, and most people didn't know, we had the youngest Congressional Medal of Honor recipient fish with us at the tournament.
That in itself
this man had jumped on a grenade to save his platoon, and that man come up and hugged my neck and thanked me. And I thought, who am I?
Yeah.
I'll never complain about nothing again in my life.
Yeah.
The honor of having that young man, it was all inspiring. I thought, I'll never complain about nothing again. This man can push through what he did to get back to being able to get on a boat and go fish and have fun with all of us.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. So
and that's why we do.
Honored. It's an honor just to have him show up.
Yes. I mean, just like Bud.
Bud's a great guy.
That man served 27 years in the military. Active duty and NOM. That's why I do what I do, guys and gals. This tournament wasn't about me, Lyle, Cindy, and Chad. It was not about me. It was all about our veterans. And so next year, let's all of our live shows, let's support this. Let's shout it out. Let's share it. Let's get it out to the world so all the veterans will know about this, so all can come and join in the festivities. Plan on making it a weekend thing, Lyle.
That's right.
It might not ever get as big as what y'all have out there at what's the name of that one? Fishing for Freedom. But hot dang, I'm gonna make it as best I can get it around here for what I can do.
I'll tell you the thing that is impressive, and you've talked about this several times. It doesn't have to just be your tournament out there.
Nope.
If somebody would pick that up in South Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, and put on a tournament like that for a veterans home or another great cause to help our veterans out, man, you could have one of these all. And it doesn't matter if you win it and you don't get any money. It don't matter. Look at a good $7,000 in one day at a fit catfish tournament just to give to those folks so they can start with their projects. That's amazing.
Team keeping it real fishing. You got to be out of your freaking mind. You think I'm going to drive back and forth all the way to Kerr Lake just to set up a tournament? Now, if you want to go up there and set it up, I'll set and do all the logistics from here. And when you get it all set up, I'll drive up and make the announcement, say, hey, I'm here. Let's get the party started.
Let's do it. Yeah. No kidding.
It's a celebration.
I spoke with James earlier today when I was at work. I had a few minutes, and I was telling him, I've done quite a few tournaments now, and most of them aren't this big, but the camaraderie and the just the pleasantries that was at this tournament was unreal.
I agree.
There wasn't people, keeping things from each other. There wasn't people bickering or anything like that, treating anybody bad. Everything was just so positive. Obviously everybody knew why we were there and why we were doing it. It wasn't about going in and winning money for first through whatever or anything like that. It was about a great cause. So it was just awesome. And kudos to you, James, seriously, for all you've done to get it together and what you pulled off this week. So thank you, bro.
Quite a feat.
I thank you for that.
It's quite a feat. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to give another shout out, a guy that 15 minutes into the tournament, he blew his motor. And I mean, not just a little blow. He threw the rod through the side of the block.
Oh, wow.
And I feel bad because he had one fish. He caught one fish. And he come back and he was carrying it up to the scales and it was too early. And Richard was saying, tell him to go put it in his live well or cut it loose. And I did. He asked me, he said, anybody got a smaller fish? Well, somebody had caught a little bitty fish off the bank. And I said, yeah, there's one fish about this big somebody caught off the bank. I didn't know they throwed that fish back.
Oh.
And he went down there and cut that fish loose. But because the way we figured the small fish, it was the smallest of the big fish.
Big fish, yeah.
Smallest of the big fish, he would have won the smallest fish trophy.
Oh.
But, you know, we didn't know. And Josh Davis of Running Late Fishing. My friend, if you in here listening, I do apologize for that. I will make it up to you, my friend. But, yeah, that motor's going to have to be replaced.
That's too bad.
Hard to fix a motor with a hole in the side of it.
And I see that Mark is passing out the accolades and people's links to different things. We need to thank Hilljack Catfishing for going live and doing all the stuff that he's done. I didn't get to visit with him near as much as I had wanted to, but he done a really good job and done some stuff. With some of us didn't have phones and cameras and different things that would work, and he took that right in stride and made it happen. So
that piece of junk wouldn't work.
But you done ordered a new one, ain't you?
Yeah, I got a new one on the way. So
yeah.
I got a 5-pound hammer. I'm sorry.
Fishing with Robbie's in the chat.
Yeah, there's Robbie. I talked to him today. I watched his video, Lyle, and I laughed, and I got just as excited as that young man did. He was so excited, he was shaking. I thought, you know, that's amazing. That is memories. Yeah. That is stuff that will carry that young man a lifetime.
I have to hand it to Kevin for taking his boat and putting that young man on those fish, him and Squirrel and Robbie, I know, had a blast. And I have a packet here. I visited with Robbie online a little bit today. You know, he caught him a 10, a 20, and a 30, so he got stickers in here.
Oh, I hear you.
And I got them all ready to go. They'll go out tomorrow. I have to take it to the post office. And while I was at it, I threw a couple more in there. Maybe he'll like them too.
But I had to send him some too, because he actually got some of my bobbers. So now they got my bobber stickers. I had to send him some stickers too.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do with them, and I don't care because I know he'll do the right thing with them. He's such a great young man. And
we need more of them like that in our sport, Lyle, because one of these days we're going to have to turn these shows over to them.
I would be happy to turn what I do over to Robbie. I know he would do it the way I would want it done. There's no doubt about that. He's such a fine young man, and he's the kind of guy that you want going up in front of the conservation departments or the state houses and fighting for regulations 20 or 30 years down the road when we're not able to do that stuff. He's the guy that we need doing. Him and Gabby and some of the
Miss Gabby done put 20 and 30 sticker on the truck.
Bless your heart. But yeah, we want all them young kids to stay in and take care of us when we're not able to fight for regulations and different things. And those are the guys that we'll be having doing it. Grayson Melwin's another one. And like I say,
Team Wampus Cat,
well-behaved young man he is.
Yep, and Team Wampus Cat, you got to meet him. That's my buddy Justin, and his son played the national anthem down there, done an excellent job. And he'd go fishing with them some, him and Gavin. Gavin's more the outdoors, like his daddy stuff. But now he done told him, y'all ain't going fishing without me. I'll be on the boat. If that boat leaves, I'm going. And they done told her daddy, guess what? We ain't fishing the tournament with you next year. We fishing the tournament against you next year.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So that's more young people that's coming into the sport.
That's great, man.
And, you know, they got a benefit, Lyle and Dee and Chad. They got a benefit. They starting young at catching trophy fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the time they get our age, Lord have mercy, they gonna be a lot of world records broke.
Yeah. So, Chad,
Yes.
how did you find those fish you caught?
I threw poles in the water and they were there.
No. You found them before that.
We went to World of Pets. Picked
You
them
what?
up.
You went to
We
where?
went to World of Pets. It's a pet shop around here.
I'm
We put
guessing
them down
that
with us.
probably is not the case.
We took the girls out. We had my daughter and her best friend was with us, and we took them out doing some pan fishing on Friday while we were down there, which didn't pan out very well. I was kind of worried the way, I was like, this ain't going very well. Hope tomorrow's better. But while we were out, I was kind of scoping everywhere we went. And we didn't go, but maybe, what is that where I was telling you, maybe a mile from the boat ramp? Where that little island is?
Probably about a half a mile. It ain't really that far.
But we just went down there and looking around, and I marked some good marks down through there. And then we went back up pan fishing again, and another big channel up there, or side creek or whatever. And I knew my boat, because it's maybe gets up to about 10 miles an hour on a good day. So I knew I wasn't going far. So I started thinking, what's the weather doing and that kind of stuff. And I started looking at those charts and stuff like that while I was out there. And I said, I knew I marked fish there. So when we went back down there, I started looking right at that ledge where it transitioned up into that flat around that island. And sure enough, we started marking fish after fish. And I got down there and just said, this is where we're going to do. This is the depth we're going to start at, and we'll see what happens. And it was the very first fish we caught was the biggest fish we weighed in.
Good deal.
It went 15 minutes after we threw the baits in. So
now, Dee, was that your largest blue ever?
Yes. That was my new PB.
But now,
40 pounds.
wait a minute. That's not the whole story.
Nope.
No.
You also caught your personal best flathead.
Very first ever caught flathead.
And
Stumbled
Chad caught his personal best flathead.
I did.
Yep.
That's a pretty good day. If you did,
That's 3 PBs on one boat, Lyle.
If you didn't even place in the tournament, that would have been a pretty good day.
Yeah.
That's
right.
actually what I told Chad. I was like, it doesn't matter if we place or not. This has been an awesome day.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we, when you catch 2 nice flathead like that and you don't get to bring either of them to the scale, you're like, that's a good day.
But see, that's the way it is around here when fishing tournaments. If you're fishing flatheads rarely do you any good around here. They just rarely do. And I tell people that, and they don't know flatheads win a lot of tournaments. Not around here. Most of them, once in a while, you'll see some brought to the scales, but the blues are so much bigger in the central part of the United States that that's what wins tournaments. That's what people fish for.
I'll say around here, 90% of the fish weighed in are blue cat.
Yeah.
And normally around here too, but Wiley is becoming a daggum.
I have a message here in chat from Robbie, and he says, "Where do Chad and them usually fish?"
Okay, so are just south of Cincinnati. We're in northern Kentucky, so we're about 20 minutes south of Cincinnati. We fish the Ohio River mainly, as we don't have a lot of big lakes around here. We have a lot of small lakes, unless we go up into Ohio.
The wrong side of the river.
The wrong side of the river.
There.
We have to travel 2.5 to 3 hours to any big lake in Kentucky. So we mainly fish the Ohio River.
Just to let you know, Benji mentioned your brother Dockery a while ago. He left you a little message in chat.
Oh, I'm using my phone. I can't see it till later.
You know what it is.
Yeah, I bet I do.
And then Mark left a message, wondered if Dee would say hello to him.
I will say hello to Doc Lang.
No, Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Who's Mark?
Mark.
Oh.
No, actually,
Catfish and Carpy.
I will tell you a story. It's kind of funny. We're on the boat, and Mark and us talked for a few minutes, and then about 10 minutes.
Yeah, he called to see if we were going to go live anymore before the end of the tournament, and asked how things were going. And
Probably 10 minutes after we hung up is when I caught my flathead.
That's awesome. So he's the good
Yeah,
luck
I was like,
so he
Mark,
got the credit.
That's awesome.
Mark, they heard your voice and came running.
I noticed that
the
Mark.
rest of the story about the flathead though. So I'd already reeled into 3 other big fish, and I was kind of beat. So I'm reeling, and I'm not feeling any head shakes, not feeling any movement.
Let me start this out because she pulls out the last shad that we had, and I cut the head off this thing. I mean, and the head was just the headpiece was bigger than my fist.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is going long rod, and I just launched that bad boy out, and I let it, go for about probably 150 yards behind the boat. Now you can proceed. Because I'm like, and I told her, I was like, that rod goes, it's going to be a good fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm reeling. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And it's probably just a log. I feel nothing. And so I handed it to him. He reels 2 or 3 cranks, and he's like, you might want to give this another try. Alyssa, turn the camera on. So
That's awesome.
Chad's a good guy and let me catch the big flathead.
Well, it was a great fish,
Yeah.
and I knew you got that time. I want to thank Mark. We have the membership thing up on our YouTube channel now, where you can join and be a member of Catfish Weekly's team. And Catfish and Crappie is now a level 1 member. Thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate that. It helps us do a lot more things that we may or may not have been able to do with what we have in mind and in store for the future of things going on. I would like to let everybody know that I got another message from Mr. Dockery. I can't repeat it word for word. But it's snowing at his house, and this is the 19th of April. I have to say, as much as I think of old James, if there's anybody in the world that deserves snow, it's James Dockery. not me. I don't need it.
I want to give a shout out. Mr. Hilljack Catfishing is in the house. He just got in. Buddy, I want to thank you for your videos and your pictures and stuff that you've done there and your live part of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, because my phone wouldn't do it. So I appreciate everything you've done, my friend. And he actually donated a couple of nice shirts too, Lyle.
Yeah.
So him and his wife was real nice. I enjoyed meeting and talking with them.
Oh, yeah. We just all around. It was just a lot of fun. 2 stands. Thank you. Another thing that I'll mention, for the little guy that I am, I'm pretty small compared to some of the people that was out there.
I don't know. You were taller than Chad.
I was.
We have a picture that proves it.
I can show him how to eat, can't I, Chad?
I'll tell you what, you was making some of them 1-tonners blush.
I saved up. See, I didn't eat nothing for 2 or 3 days. I want to be able to keep up. Well, we had a blast with them guys, but it was a lot of fun. And Ernie and Chrissy was wonderful people to be out there with, too. I visit with Ernie quite a little bit online, not over amount, but quite a little bit. And it was really good to meet them up close and personal and be able to visit with them because they are great folks. We're so happy to have people like that in the sport of catfishing. It's just, I can't say enough about everybody that was out there. It was just really good.
I was sure hoping they would have got on some fish sitting there on the banks.
Me too.
They wasn't able to get to some of the better locations on the bank, but hey, that's fishing and they give it a try. I'll give it to them. They was putting the lines in the water all around that area is just a fish. But that cold spell, Lyle, it kind of pushed them out into deeper water.
Yep,
normally
that happens.
Yeah, normally in that water's right there, that shallow flat, and it says a mussel bed right out in front of where they was at.
Yep.
So normally they would have put fish on the bank right there, but
there's something else I gotta say. That boat ramp in Missouri, most all the boat ramps have restrooms. You guys didn't have one out there.
Those cause the daggone crackheads keep burning them down.
Well, I understand that. And but you did bring the ladies a tent-like thing and a place where they could take care of business. I asked David Martin and Jeff Anderson, I said, where you guys taking care of business at? And they said, I just walk down there behind the trees and be all right. I said, nobody gonna bother you down there. So I traipsed down a little ways, kind of out of sight from everybody, and got around behind a tree. And I look up, and here comes a young man with a fishing pole coming right down where I was at. So I turned around, and there's a woman carrying a fish down through there. And I thought, what the hell is going on? I finally kind of got by myself a little bit, and I was taking care of everything. And I looked down, I felt something on my leg. And James had told us about some kind of briar that was out there.
Tall briar.
And I was in the middle of them, both feet. You're committed. You got to finish what you're doing. Yeah. And I had blood running out of my legs. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I said something about a sawbar, and I said, what? What?
I know what it is.
Sawbar. Yeah, you know what it is now? It'll saw you up on it.
Oh, man, that thing. It chewed me up. My leg looked like a piece of hamburger.
What did you learn?
Don't go down there. When Jeff Anderson tells you to sneak behind the tree, tell him what I tell Dockery and go somewhere else.
tell him Big Nasty is. They probably didn't even come, cut the heel on his foot.
As big as Jeff is, I'm guessing that briar bush took off when he walked down through there.
The Bigfoot.
Oh, man, he's a hoot. We had a really good time with them guys.
He was awesome. So many awesome people down there.
Oh, and Keith, I got to meet fishermen and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
So sweet.
There's not a better person that was down there than Keith.
He's a character.
He's such a fun guy to be around, and he laughs and carries on, and you talk to him, and the next thing you know, you're off on a different subject. But Keith's the real deal. Yeah. He really is.
Yeah, he was talking about how many times a day at a tournament he hears people come up to him and say, "Today."
Yeah.
Or I'll be right back. He was like, yeah, I hear those a lot.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised that they didn't come. I didn't see them on the list, was he? No. I'm really surprised they didn't come in with fish.
He probably, beat us all and didn't want to make me feel bad.
And that's okay, Yeah.
Well, I was telling Chad, hopefully next year we'll be able to bring the big boat and have it all set up, and we'll have a veteran on the boat with us.
Sometimes if catching the fish ain't the whole picture.
There you go.
And that was kind of the way it was with me. We planned on coming out and fishing that, and Cindy and I talked about it, and we thought that you probably could use our assistance on the bank a lot more than we would do good in the boat. And as it turned out, I wouldn't change a thing because we had such a great time, And I know that Chad and Dee had a great time fishing, but I also know they had a great time when we was eating dinner and in the parking lot of the tournament, and it was just a good time. I don't know how you could make it any better than what it was. And like I say, my afternoon with David and Jeff was top notch. And it's always a pleasure to talk to Dieter. Him and I had talked about getting together and doing some talking about some extensive stuff that we both feel near and dear to our hearts. And that didn't happen, but maybe next time, it's just that's about that's the most feel good tournament that I've been around in a long time.
Yes.
And,
Yes, definitely.
That's
even if they wasn't even a one fish caught, I think, and it was like the first tournament, Lyle, there was a lot of boats that did not catch a fish. It was cold, it was raining, spitting snow and sleet, and they'd tell you they wanted another one the next week because they finally, all these people had never met.
Yeah.
And they come together the first time, and that just, I don't know. It's, I don't know what to say about it. It was good. It felt good. It did.
Yeah.
It just felt good.
I got to tell you, I don't know what you have planned for Wednesday night. I know you got a big show planned, and it will be a lot of fun. But I do know, and it flew by here, and I just got bits and pieces of it, that there's something went on with Kevin and a sandbar. I just got bits and pieces of what happened. So he needs to explain that somehow so we all can get the drift of it.
You talking about Palmetto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't heard. If he went up in the South Fork back there has changed. What used to be the channel up through there, when they dropped the lake, that it really exposed how much that sandbar had moved to where the river channel is. Which wasn't really much of a river channel anyway. And Dieter last week had done pulled 2 boats out of it in 2 days.
Wow. Hey,
And,
here's something right here from a guy that fishes tournaments. Junior Proctor has made it into chat. He says the best tournament he ever fished.
Thank you,
Wow.
Junior.
That's a big statement right there.
Yep. He puts on some great tournaments too.
Yes, he does.
There's Mr. Freddie Beck, the vet, my gold mining buddy and veteran. He retired from 20 years in the Navy, and I was able to put him on the boat with Junior, and they actually don't live far from each other, Lyle.
And
so there's another good friendship that's got started up that will be a lifetime of friendship.
They had a blast. Junior enjoyed him, and I think that he enjoyed Junior. And let him catch a bunch of fish. Man, who don't want to get on a boat with a complete stranger? And the guy say, "Here, you can reel all fish in." Cindy and I have done that. A lot of people, it's hard to do. It wasn't ever hard for us to do because we wanted to let them guys have the time of their life, and that's what Junior done with that gentleman. He let him have the time of his life. So that was awesome. And like I say, Laura, it was fun meeting her and visiting with her a little bit. Didn't get to talk to her as much, but we did eat dinner with her and the 1 Ton guys, and that was awesome. And went down on the bank while a bunch of us fishing and visited with them a little bit. But I wasn't used to getting up quite so early, so I went back to a nap. Just what
you took enough for me because I was needing one, boy.
I think she was napping about the same time you were, Lyle.
Is that right? On the boat with the 2 girls and Chad? How did you do that?
I had 3 of them all sleeping on the boat. And, that was like the whole time that not a single bite happened.
They were waiting for me to wake up.
Trying to catch the fish.
That's man.
Oh, man. Holy crap. This was a great time. Chad, I feel that you're planning on going back.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Yeah.
Matthew Anthony, you're mine. No.
He means mine.
It's hard to beat locals.
Honestly,
now, I'm just going to tell you, it's hard to beat locals.
They beat a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it worked out. We had a great day.
Yeah.
But even though we did have all the PBs and we caught great fish, like you were saying, James, there's so much more to it than all that. You know, it was a great experience, hands down, altogether, just amazing. So, and Palmetto, just that one that I just did a short of, that was the 40-pound blue cat that we caught right at the beginning of the tournament. That you didn't believe me when I came in your chat and said we got some big ones.
I'll tell you what you should do, James, because I know this is a big number. If you could find out how many personal best fish was caught Saturday, I'll bet the number would surprise you.
Yep. So everybody in here, listen to what Lyle's saying. Message me if you caught y'all's personal best during the tournament. I would really love to hear that, and that'll be something that I'll put out Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think you'll be surprised.
I heard there was quite a few.
Amy Jo. I know Amy Jo.
Amy Jo caught one, yeah.
Yep.
And it was always great. I know Kevin had some boat issues too, but it was really good to see him. And kudos to the guys that helped him work on his boat, trying to get it ready to go.
Yes.
You know, that's way cool. Everybody trying. It is a feel-good deal. It really is.
Yep. All around. All around. It was, I don't know, just a camaraderie.
I love Chrissy Brown's comment right there. Does personal best experience count?
Absolutely.
I'll take that too.
That's right there.
I'd have to say yes.
Uncle Lou's at Palmetto Squirrel was awesome. So you guys on the boat with Robbie.
Oh, we have to give a little shout out. Uncle Lou, your planer boards kick butt.
Well, I'm sure Lee appreciates that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Freddie got his personal best. I
know that Lee works really hard at putting boards together, and he's trying to do some new stuff in the tackle industry, and we wish him the very best. But I've known Lee for several years, and he's a top-notch guy. And if he tells you something, you can take it to the bank, baby, because it's the gospel or it's never been spoken. And that's just the way Lee Reed is.
Yep.
I know just a little bit. I know him from chat. He's a really nice guy.
But if you ever meet him in person, you'll see how really, really nice he is. He's a lot like a lot of the people that you met over the weekend.
Yeah.
He's just a super nice guy.
It was really cool to see how genuine everybody is on YouTube, because there was very little difference with when you met them.
That's exactly right. That's why they're so successful. That's why people are successful. If you try to be something you're not, you won't never make it. But if you just be yourself, and if people accept you for what you are, you'll do great. And I think that's what we got with nearly everybody out there. I mean,
everybody was as nice, if not nicer. And I told you, Lyle, one of my favorites that I met down there, and we sat and talked for probably a half hour. Mr. Kevin Baker, Nuts and Bolts.
Oh,
he was such a nice guy.
Ended up winning the rod I brought out there. And,
and
a guy I would have cared who won it, but I'm glad that he did, because such a nice guy, and willing to help anybody and everybody. I know that Mark with Catfish and Crappie is getting ready to go live here in just a few minutes, and we don't want to run over too long on him, but them guys that work for 3 days or more trying to catch bait for everybody that was out there that had never been there before, didn't know if they was going to get bait or not. Some of them didn't even know if they was going to have bait or not. And Richard and Junior, Warscow, and how many
Jamie K.
They worked tirelessly trying to make sure that everybody had what they needed. And you just don't see that at anything like that.
Oh, Jamie threw a net that is 2.5 pounds per foot, taped net, to try to get them shad deep for probably 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
There's no further
that's a man.
Not at all.
No way.
I would hate for that man to grab me and squeeze me. I look like a pimple.
If he could throw the net like any net for 10 hours. Yeah, I don't want no part of it.
And Richard and, and Jamie's, he's got a helper that actually just went in there. And I was so worried that I put him in a bind because he was wanting to have people there, because the initial list was 16 people that contacted me. But then that list grew a lot after the next 2 or 3 days. And I really should have cut it off at Wednesday, but it put Jamie in a little bit of a bind. But Jamie stepped up. He supplied the bait. And I would have felt bad because he was selling so much bait at that time because he had another tournament going on Saturday night that he had to supply to.
I can't. We didn't fish. We didn't need any bait, but I can't thank them guys enough for what they done. And I know Junior and Richard Warskow told me, Junior said that he just absolutely throwed that net tirelessly. And it takes some committed people to work that hard for others for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that was involved with helping you, and Richard with the weigh-in and everything was phenomenal. The ladies, helping at the raffles and help, Cindy helping keep the weights and all that. It was
that was
an awesome effort by everybody.
Yeah, Miss Thorne, she helped out a lot. But I'm gonna tell you what,
Richard,
guys, you can learn from Cindy. Miss Cindy Stokes, buddy, she can run a daggum. She can run them books, hands down. She got it.
And when she tells you that
behind her and talk,
when she tells you that this is the end and it's right, you can take it to the bank because it is never going to be off. No. She's done a lot of them. I watched her sit and count thousands of dollars in the boat while we was fishing to make sure payout was done and in envelopes before we ever went back at the end of the day. And they was always right. So, it was really something. But Junior or Richard Warskow, I hope I'm saying that name right.
Yep.
He has agreed to come on Catfish Weekly and do a show with us. And him and I talked about some of the do's and don'ts that we feel is important in tournament catfishing. And we're going to touch on some of that when I get him on here. I think it'll make a great show. He is a very intelligent man, done a bang-up job doing that weigh-in, and he knows a lot about tournament fishing. I think it'll make for a great show. Whether you're a tournament angler or not, you can learn from a guy like this. And let's face it, that's why we do what we do.
He goes out of his way to help anybody. K&B, when they come up the first time, Kevin had actually borrowed a boat to come up. Well, apparently they had done suck trash up into the motor, and it started running hot. And he worked tirelessly. He basically tore the system apart and got all the lines blew out and got them back running. But he had never met or even talked to those guys on the phone, not one iota before that happened.
Right.
And he dropped what he was doing to come out there to make sure that they got their boat back running.
Yep.
That's the people. That's the small circle of friends that I have. I know
I got to tell you,
they call and say, James, I need your help. Or if I call and say, Richard, I need your help, we there.
I have to tell you that I am impressed by the people that live in your neck of the woods, your lake, your fishery. I would be proud to go back out there and see those folks anytime. And I hope that the little time that I was out there that they would do the same for me, because, man, I am so impressed with the whole group out there. And we'll be back. But probably not without a boat. That was kind of tough. And sit there and I mean, I enjoyed myself. Don't get me wrong, but I like to fish.
Yeah, and that was a good fishery.
Yes, it is. There were some great fish brought in. Listen,
next
guys,
year, if we got the big boat next year, Lyle, you're more than welcome to be on our boat with us, because we will need a net man.
Is there a bed under the bottom of that? Is there a bed under the bottom of it? Place for me to lay down, take a nap?
We'll bring a cushion.
There you go.
We got the cooler.
Oh yeah, we got the live well up there's got a cushion on it.
There you go.
He's tiny.
I gotta have a nap sometime during the day. That's just all there is.
The best nap thing is to bring, especially for kids, is them little blow up rafts. They
Yeah.
can't roll out in the middle of the floor. It keeps them cuddled up, and it's got a little air bottom on it. I used to carry one for my daughter everywhere I went.
My kids used to sleep on decoy bags, duck decoys.
Oh, I hear you.
You know, if you got a will, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
Well, thank everybody for watching Catfish Weekly tonight. Dee and Chad, thank you for short notice jumping in here.
Thank you.
Please keep everybody that we talked about that has illnesses and sicknesses in your thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
And we'll get Junior Proctor back on here at another time when he gets things lined out and he knows that his family member is okay. We'll get that taken care of and get him on here. And he can tell us then if them red, white, and blue planer boards are going to be available or if James is going to have the market cornered on them.
And
But, yeah,
I want to
they
thank
was-
each and every one of you that come out here to help support it, because a lot of you, like Lyle and Chad and Dee and Justin Fishing Fetish, and a lot of them traveled a lot of hours.
Ernie.
And Ernie, and you know, it meant so much to me, and I know it did the veterans, that y'all took time out of your lives to come out here to support this great cause. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and God bless each and every one of you.
There's not a better cause in the world that I would donate money or time to than a United States veteran.
And
For
Mr. Gadget is
everybody.
putting up the link for everybody to check out. Thank you, Mr. Gadget. He's done it through the whole show. Thank you.
Yep, that's awesome. Be sure to tune in to Mark, Catfish and Crappie. He's getting ready to go live with Chris Souders. Going to be a great show. So you might want to tune in and watch it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next Monday night on Catfish Weekly.
Good night.